Good afternoon, gang. Saturday afternoon. And I know it's highly unlikely that I'd put a video up at 4:30 in the afternoon Eastern Time, considering we have a live stream coming up in 4.5 hours. Okay. This is starting to get scarier. Okay. We're already scary. Now we're getting scarier. I had mentioned this morning about what was going on with Germany and all, and this is kind of a follow up a little bit to it because this came out this afternoon. Well, late this morning. But I'm going to give you this, okay? Germany's talking about cooking outside, prepping, yada, 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 like I told you about this morning. The biggest thing that people have to prep is food, okay? Now, y'all probably know, and if you don't, I'll tell you real quick. The U.S. is the world's largest food exporter. That shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. I mean, about half the country is agricultural. Now, if you take a look at Europe, everybody says, oh, Europe's so beautiful, everything like this. Let's think about this. The southernmost points in Portugal, Spain, or Italy, the southern tips of Europe, are roughly on the same parallel as where I am in Tennessee, okay? The Kentucky-Tennessee line, pretty much. So if you think about raising food, growing food in Europe, comparatively, okay, anything that we raise in, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, the majority of California, the climate isn't right in Europe to grow that food. And that's where a lot of our food comes from, okay? Granted, we get the plains states and everything like that, go all the way up to North Dakota, and that's going to get you a lot of your grains. But you're certainly not growing oranges or citrus fruit or anything like that up north, and the growing season is a lot shorter. Okay, I mean, I was out this afternoon. Here it is, 2nd of October, and I'm still picking tomatoes and I'm still picking peppers. I'm probably betting that most of the people in Michigan aren't doing that anymore. Okay, maybe, I don't know. I'm not up in Michigan, but maybe you still got some. But so think of that if you're in Europe. Okay, where does the food come from? Because with all the slow boats to China stuck in ports all over the world, okay, food ain't coming. You really can't ship green peppers on a cargo ship across the continents to Europe, if you will, or tomatoes or something. They'll be rotten by the time they get there. So they've got to grow them relatively close to home. Now, the Netherlands has had a solution, okay? You'll know Dutch tulips and everything like that, okay? Dutch are great at growing stuff. Soil's wonderful, everything. The Netherlands, is the second largest food exporter in the world. And I know everybody go, of all places, that's not where I think to be. Well, here's what they've done. There's 25,000 acres of greenhouses in the Netherlands. And this is where most of Europe's produce comes from. Again, tomatoes, peppers, beans, peas, whatever you want. You want to eat vegetables, fresh vegetables in Europe, that's where the majority of it comes from. All right. I mean, some of these greenhouses, to give you this one tomato grower up there, his greenhouses produce 80 million pounds of tomatoes a year. That's where the tomatoes are going. I mean, granted, people have their gardens and stuff like that. Now, this is where the problem comes in. We have talked about the energy crisis, if you will, that is going on in Europe. The Dutch are now shutting down or reducing the lighting in the greenhouses because it's too expensive. All right. This came out this afternoon because the natural gas prices and the electricity prices are going up. They are talking about, there's already some of these greenhouses that have shut down completely. Now, if you're in Europe, I hope to God you had a garden, and I hope to God you were able to put some of this stuff away. Okay. Dutch exports approximately $10.7 billion worth of vegetables every year. Okay. How much has the food cost gone up? If they can't produce the vegetables because they can't use the electricity because, oh my God, it's got to be solar, it's got to be wind power, we can't use natural gas, we can't use coal, or it's so ridiculously expensive, we can't afford it. Well, it doesn't just mean not heating your house, that means you don't have food. This is a problem, guys, because Europe is going to come screaming to the United States, we need food, we need food, we need food. We all talked about it last year when China was buying up corn and soybeans like crazy from the United States, and our prices went up. Look at the price of corn. I've talked about this, all right? The price of an ear of corn has gotten ridiculous. The price of a can of corn in the grocery stores has doubled since this time last year, guys. Okay. I don't know how much you buy canned corn or whatever it is, but if you look, the price has doubled year over year. And that was just from us helping China. Now, let's say we've got to help all of Europe because they don't have the food. Sure, we're going to send food. There's only so much that's grown, guys. So what happens? The food goes to where the farmer, the distributor, the whatever, Del Monte, pick a company, okay, can get the most return for it. In other words, if they can sell a can of corn in France for $1.10, but they're selling a can of corn in the United States for $1, guess what? They're going to ship more corn to France because they can make more money. It's capitalism. I get that. That's a good thing. But this is why we prep. Okay? This is why you need to be growing it. You need to be canning it. You need to be prepping for it. You need to be stocking it and saving it. Because the price of food is going to go even higher and higher and higher and higher. What I saw today was the expected inflation rate for food for 2022 is supposed to be 20 to 30% for food. Okay. Take your grocery bill that you are already going on and add another third. That's what's coming. You got to look at these things step by step. When we talk about, it's like a lot of comments said this morning in the video, okay? It's just in Germany. It's not in the United States. Yes, it is, guys. This is how this affects us. And for all those nincompoops that brush everything off and say, it's happening somewhere else, it'll never happen here. This is exactly how it happens here. Because there's no natural gas going from Russia to Germany, they don't have enough to heat. Because nothing is being generated in the way of electricity off of that natural gas, they don't have enough electricity. Because there is enough electricity, where they don't get the majority of their food from, the greenhouses in the Netherlands don't grow it. Therefore, the natural gas from Russia that is not going into Europe affects the food prices in the United States. Yes, okay? Tip of the nose stuff, guys. This is what I keep talking about. You have to look at the consequences to actions. And I know all of you guys do. You all get it. But there's many people who have their head in the sand. A lot of you guys said in your comments today, I've been telling them for a year and they won't do it. This is what's going on. If you can explain this to them, do. If they still won't listen, I don't know what else to do. But the reason I keep beating the drum on this, guys, is because one of these days they may wake up, and I think it's more important that we keep telling them now, because when the balloon goes up, which seems to be getting closer and closer and closer, we don't want all these people knocking on our door. If we can convince them to do it now, maybe they aren't a threat to us later. That's the point. But all I'm going to tell you guys is this. Get ready for higher food costs, even higher than we already got, okay? And get ready for a lot more shortages. This is coming, and that's why. We'll see y'all in a few hours. Pinball out.